Another edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again is my co-host, Richie O'Leary. Another commitment for the Scarlet Knights, this time from a linebacker, Justin Edwards, out of Edgewater High School in Orlando, Florida. He's listed at 6'2", 205 pounds. Rich, tell us how Rutgers ended up landing Justin Edwards and what he brings as a player.
Yeah, Justin Edwards, again, another kid that they offered back in February. It feels like me putting together these big boards in, I guess, December. It's kind of pointless just because they just offer so many new kids. And that's fair. I mean, so did everyone else. I mean, Syracuse offered him. Kentucky offered him. Who am I missing? Central Florida, Houston, Missouri, Ole Miss, Virginia. All these other schools jumped in the race pretty late, too. Hell, even Miami jumped in as of last week. But yeah, no, Rutgers got on the campus back in April, spring practice visit, loved everything about it, loved campus. It was kind of interesting to see where things were going to go from there. We didn't really get a feel for it. We knew he had Rutgers, vice versa. Rutgers had him near the top of their board at linebacker. They landed a couple others. They landed Joey Kopic. They just landed Adam Shaw. So it was kind of, we don't really know where he stands on the board. Do they still take him? Do they not? He goes to Syracuse last weekend. I'm told that Syracuse went all out trying to push for his commitment, trying to get the kid to just here, do it verbally. Like, we need you to commit. We can't let you leave campus. The minute you leave campus, it's like game over, basically. And that was kind of the same thing from Rutgers, except Rutgers was able to secure the commitment. So did a damn good job of securing a commitment. Did a damn good job of holding off other schools, whether it be Syracuse, whether it be like Miami, who I said just offered the other day. Miami, obviously, one of the, whether people like to admit it or not, I know they haven't been great to like the days of the old Miami, but they're still Miami, where they're one of the top NIL programs, on top of the fact that for a Florida kid down in Florida, Miami is one of those premier schools still. They were supposed to have him on an official visit next weekend, and Miami was also trying to tell him, like, hey, just wait, just don't commit yet. Like, just come visit us first and we'll figure it out. And Kentucky was supposed to get him after that on the 20th. So, I mean, you're just continuing to beat out very dominant schools on the recruiting trail. Dominant is the right word for Miami. I don't know if I'd call Kentucky or Syracuse dominant on the recruiting trail, but they're both doing good in their own right, too. So, just a really good get. Beat out a bunch of solid schools, and yeah, pretty much they just got on the campus and sealed the deal. You're on mute.
It's kind of wild to think, if you would have dropped, where Rutgers is at into, the mind of me 20 years ago when, Miami was Miami. If they offered a Florida kid, they were going to get that Florida kid. It's a nice change of pace now that Rutgers is, in a lot of ways in a better position. They're in the Big Ten. They are in the right conference in terms of, revenue sharing. And the ACC is a sinking ship. And Miami, even though, they just had the number one pick come out of their school.
Yeah.
Rutgers is still landing kids over them. He had a pretty stat-filled season last year. I'm going to pull up his tape here in a second, but he had 52 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, 2 pass deflections. He had 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and his team, Edgewater High School, had a 10-2 season. You'll notice right off the bat, this kid has speed for days.
Yeah.
He's able to get sideline to sideline. He's listed at 6'2", 205. He got a big wingspan, and he just makes plays all over the field. Starting with the strip sack here, you'll see it later in his tape, but he's actually lined up against a 5-star receiver and held his own as a linebacker. Pretty impressive.
Vernell Brown from Jones High School in Florida, for what it's worth. Vernell Brown the third, technically. But yeah, right here. It's interesting to line him up on the outside because we've seen like Mohamed Toure do that at this level and succeed at it. We've also saw Elam Lamore do it and, well, not succeed at it. So,
yeah, that was an all-time bad play there.
Yeah, that was something else. Now, this is actually an interesting school because they produce quite a bit of talent. Like, I want to say this kid was a Rutgers prospect at one point. Kai Bates, I feel like he had a Rutgers offer back in the day. I got to double check on that. But they produce a ton of talent at Edgewater for an Orlando school that, like, you wouldn't think produces a ton of talent in that region. They actually do. And they're sent kids to Florida State, North Carolina State, Miami, I feel like a lot of these names are really familiar. Jaden Wilkerson. I don't know, off the top of my head. I kind of mix it all together, but never to Rutgers. So it is good for Rutgers to get in there. They've sent a lot of southeastern schools from like Mississippi, a couple Big Ten schools actually too, Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa. So it's just a very good school for Rutgers to get more involved with, especially because they're in Florida every single year for recruiting. So why not keep dipping your toe down there and seeing if you can just keep landing more and more talent? And we always say it, like the above average 3-star at this level is probably almost a New Jersey 4-star, just because the athleticism down there and the amount of athletes down there, it's just like tenfold. So Carl Joseph, I remember Alec told us about this, alumni from there, the former West Virginia DB who kind of wreaked a little bit of havoc against Rutgers.
Yeah, former first-round pick.
Yeah. He actually, weird connection here, is now part of the NFL Academy over in London. Rutgers just offered 2 NFL Academy kids last week when they came to camp. So kind of a weird little dynamic how that all works. But yeah, I mean, a school that produces a ton of talent. Why not get more involved down there?
Absolutely. What else about this kid stood out to you, either from hearing anecdotes from his coaches or, what you saw on tape, anything additional that we haven't talked about?
I think it's interesting to watch him line up just about everywhere. He's definitely a linebacker at the next level. I know there's been some concerns by people on our board saying like, hey, like he's kind of skinny, like he needs to. I shouldn't say on the boards. This was more in my DMs from a fan. But he was just saying like, yeah, he's kind of skinny. He has to bulk up. So does every other kid. He's 200 pounds. He has more than enough weight to bulk up. Not really concerned there. Runs a 4.5 40. Does the 400-meter dash too. I think it was a 49 seconds, which it's pretty impressive. I think the 100-meter was in the 11 range, 11 point something. I got to double check on that. But this is a kid that they really wanted from the get-go. Like Rutgers brought in 5 linebackers last cycle, so it really didn't seem like this was going to be a heavy linebacker haul. So the fact that they're taking 3 is a little kind of crazy to me, because you're just adding like a ton of names to this room. But now with the ability to technically cut players, I mean, why would you not? On top of that, he was one of 6 offers they sent out back in March when I did our big board. And it was between him and Mahayu Kanu as the top 2 linebackers at that spot. So he's been a top linebacker for a couple months now, or top linebacker target. So the fact that they're able to land him is pretty huge. And you're not only beating out, like I said, just Syracuse, you're beating out like others of the world, from the Kentuckys and the Miamis. I really like this get. I really like a lot of their gets. It's really hard not to, because they're all super athletic types, and they just seem like they're legitimate good football players. Are they all going to develop? No, of course not. You're probably going to hit on like 60% if we're lucky, or if they're lucky. But I still think that all these gets, you see the same thing over and over again. It's athletic football players that are just, they have the fundamentals down, or they have the athleticism, and then you could kind of mold them into the player you want them to be. But a really good linebacker class between him, Joey Kopik, who we really don't talk enough about, I feel like, and then Adam Shaw. Doesn't even play linebacker. And I love his athleticism. Same thing. A lot of athletic freaks in that linebacker room. You could see the vision that Sparber kind of has for them, and we'll see if he can get them developed.
Yeah, no, those are the intangibles that you cannot teach into somebody, having that kind of speed and having that kind of intensity and willingness to be physical. Like, those are certain things you kind of have to bring to the table. The coaches can kind of mold you as a player, teach you scheme, teach you better technique, but there's just certain things you got to kind of come into campus with, and Rutgers is certainly finding guys who fit that mold to get them into the fold. I think that's kind of it on Justin Edwards. It's also, once again, I said it a few times today. So again, if you're playing the podcast drinking game, you might hear from us again later in today or tomorrow. So stay tuned to your podcast feeds and stay tuned to the boards. But for me and Richie, this has been another edition of the Night Report podcast. Signing off.